Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So today, this video will be about my comparison between Facebook and Twitter. So the question is, why was it that I picked these two companies? So the reason I picked these two companies were because I frequently am on these two websites. So I'm constantly on Facebook and Twitter. One of the interests that I had as to why I picked these two companies were because I've always been fascinated with the fact that these are two big companies and many people use them for a different amount of reasons. So, what was the approach that I took to analyze? So, the approach that I took to analyze these two companies were, honestly speaking, gather as much information as I can. The reason for this was because there are about 6 key factors that I had to answer for both companies. So that means I had to use about 12 sites. So one thing that I did um, was just ask myself a few questions in regarding to the company and the key factors. For example, when it came to financial outcomes, one thing that I did was question myself, of course, was how, no, what was Facebook's financial outcome? And I did the same thing for Twitter. So so I asked one question for both companies, just different ways. And then after I found out the answer for it, I briefly summarized and gave a big amount of information for both companies. I found many things in regards to both of the companies just because of the simple fact that these two companies have been to the public for a long, long time. So, for example, I found out Facebook's financial outcomes as that was one of the things, and I also found out the financial outcomes for Twitter. I also One of the things that I found most interesting in my findings was the strategic planning in both of the companies. For example, um, Facebook had many plans, and they would set their plans and try to accomplish it at a certain amount of time, and so did Twitter. The only thing is that was different was their approach. So, in all honesty, one thing that I got from this um, analysis and comparison to both of the companies was that Facebook is a very strong company compared to Twitter. I realized that in every key factor that I found, every everything that I found, Facebook beat Twitter. Facebook had a better strategic plan, had a better had a better organizational structure, had better financial outcomes, and just overall is a very strong company. The one thing that I really like about Facebook though is just the approach it takes throughout over time. One thing that I could say about Twitter, however, is that Twitter is still developing, and I think, in my opinion, it will become a stronger company throughout time. It just won't be stronger than Facebook just because of the simple fact that Facebook has been um Facebook has been a company for a very long time, whereas it already knows its flaws and it already knows its strengths. So they turn their flaws into their strengths because they already know their weaknesses and they use that to their advantage. On the other hand, Twitter is still up and coming. For example, Twitter's um, when it came to Twitter's organizational structure, the CO actually set a new one that is going to be very impactful in the next couple of years. But the thing is, Facebook wouldn't do such a thing just because of the simple fact that everything has been set already. Although, in many years, there will be a time where they have to change their organizational structure because society continues to grow and develop. But in all honesty, this project was very important for me just because of the simple fact that I'm able to learn as to how these two companies are able to do such a good job in producing as much money and becoming a very strong company. So that's it for today. Thank you for your time. Stay safe.